Have you ever wondered whether all the restrictions we impose on ourselves in the pursuit of a longer life truly lead to happiness beyond the age of 80? We're constantly told to avoid certain foods, stick to strict routines, and cut out the things we enjoy. But what if I told you that one of the leading experts in geriatric psychiatry believes it's time to let go of these rules and start living life on your own terms once you hit 80? In this video, we'll explore groundbreaking insights that challenge everything we thought we knew about aging. Stay with me until the end to discover how these ideas could transform not only your perspective on old age, but also bring more joy and freedom to your life today. Before we dive in, I'd really appreciate it if you like this video. It helps me continue sharing important lessons on aging. If you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend doing so and turning on the bell so you won't miss any future content. And if you like this video, please comment 1 below. If you don't, comment 0 so I can continue improving for you. Now let's get started. In today's world, the relentless pursuit of living a long, healthy life has become all-consuming. We're constantly bombarded with reminders to eat the right foods, avoid bad habits, exercise regularly, and stay on top of medical checkups. The underlying message seems to be that if we don't follow these rigid guidelines, we're somehow doomed to a short, unhealthy life. But here's the question that's been on my mind. Is all this pressure, restriction, and anxiety really the secret to a happy life, especially as we get older? Over time, I've come to realize that this obsession with health can often do more harm than good. Look around. How many people do you know who spend their days restricting themselves from life's simple pleasures? They avoid their favorite foods, skip that occasional glass of wine, or even quit smoking, all in the hopes of adding a few extra years to their lives. But for what? To live longer while feeling deprived and miserable? What if I told you that one of the most respected authorities in geriatric psychiatry, someone with over 30 years of experience studying and working with the elderly, believes that once you hit 80, it's time to throw all these restrictions out the window? At first, that might sound like a radical idea, but this expert insists it's the truth. After decades of working closely with aging individuals, he's come to a surprising conclusion. Once you're 80, it's time to start living life on your terms. If you love certain foods, enjoy them. If you take pleasure in the occasional drink, pour yourself that glass of wine. Even if smoking is your guilty pleasure, go ahead and light up. Now, some of you might be thinking, isn't this terrible advice? Aren't these things bad for our health? Here's the twist. This advice comes from a geriatric psychiatrist who has spent a lifetime studying the psychological and emotional aspects of aging. He's seen firsthand the effects of constant restriction and the toll it takes on one's mental health. In his view, the endless pursuit of longevity through self-denial could be causing more harm than any indulgence ever would. Let's break it down. This expert argues that the obsession with maintaining health, the ceaseless striving for physical perfection in old age, can become a heavy burden. It weighs us down with guilt and anxiety every time we indulge in something bad for us. We've been conditioned to believe that every sweet treat, every drink, every cigarette is a nail in the coffin. But think about it. What's the point of living longer if those extra years are filled with stress, guilt, and a lack of enjoyment? This expert even goes so far as to suggest that some dreaded diseases like cancer should be seen as natural outcomes of aging rather than tragic anomalies to be avoided at all costs. Take a moment to consider that, instead of living in constant fear of illness and death, what if we embrace these realities with grace? There's a profound sense of peace that comes from accepting the inevitable. No matter how hard we try, no matter how many superfoods we eat or hours we spend exercising, aging and illness are natural parts of life. They come with the territory of growing old. Wouldn't it be more freeing to make peace with that, instead of spending our twilight years in a constant state of worry? Where does this revolutionary perspective come from? It's deeply rooted in the teachings of Hiaki Wada, a leading figure in geriatric psychiatry. His groundbreaking book, The Wall of 80, has taken the world by storm since its release in 2022. The book has resonated particularly with those in their 50s and 60s who are beginning to prepare for their aging process or care for elderly parents. Wada's approach challenges everything we thought we knew about getting older. Many readers report having an aha moment while reading his work. realizing that the advice they've been following or giving to aging loved ones may have been more harmful than helpful. Wada's teachings serve as a reminder that we should focus less on the strict rules of health and more on the quality of life. His philosophy invites us to question the true meaning of health and happiness in old age. It's not about avoiding death at all costs, it's about living each day with joy, freedom, and without unnecessary burdens. And perhaps that is the most important lesson of all. The book I'm discussing breaks down the concept of aging into 4 major walls we must overcome to live joyfully beyond the age of 80. These aren't just physical or medical hurdles, they are mental and emotional barriers that shape how we experience old age. The first wall, perhaps the most pervasive, is our overdependence on doctors, medications, and hospitals. Think about how often we see elderly individuals spending hours at the doctor's office, filling prescriptions, and taking countless pills, all in the hope that these medical interventions will somehow extend their lives or improve their quality of life. But we must ask ourselves, does this constant reliance on healthcare lead to happiness, or does it create a cycle of fear and dependency where we view every ache, pain, or minor health issue as a potential catastrophe? If you're still with me and finding these lessons useful, please comment 1 below to let me know you're still watching. Thank you for your valuable time. The second wall is the aging process itself, an inevitable part of life that none of us can escape. As we age, we notice changes in our physical abilities, our energy levels, and even our independence. While these changes may seem daunting, fighting against them only leads to frustration and disappointment. Instead, we must learn to accept this reality and find peace in the natural progression of life. Yes, we will slow down. Yes, our bodies may not work the way they once did. But instead of resisting these changes, what if we embrace them? What if we viewed aging not as a loss but as a time to reflect, grow, and adjust to new rhythms of life? The third wall, perhaps the most frightening for many, is the fear of dementia and cognitive decline. This fear is understandable, as losing one's mental faculties can feel like losing one's very self. However, the author challenges us to look at this fear differently. Instead of living in constant anxiety about potential memory loss or mental decline, we should focus on the here and now, enjoying the moments of clarity, love, and connection that we still have. The future is uncertain, and living in fear of what might happen only robs us of the joy available to us today. The final wall is the general fear of being over 80. Society often paints a grim picture of life beyond 80, a slow decline into irrelevance, where one's contributions are no longer valued, and life becomes about mere survival rather than thriving. But what if we could change that narrative? What if we could see life after 80 not as the end but as the beginning of a new chapter, a time when we are free from the pressures of work and raising families and can finally focus on what truly brings us joy, wisdom, and fulfillment? Aging doesn't have to be a journey into darkness. It can be a time of light, peace, and contentment if we approach it with the right mindset. The truth is, life in your 80s is not like life in your 70s. The 80s represent an entirely new phase, one where changes can happen suddenly and without warning. Even if you're fortunate enough to be in good health today, tomorrow could bring unforeseen difficulties. This isn't said to discourage you but rather to encourage deep reflection on what truly matters in this stage of life. Would you rather have a peaceful and contented old age, or one filled with regret and struggle? It's a choice that many of us will face, and it's important to make that choice consciously. In Japan, the most aged country in the world, there are now over 990,000 people who have lived to be over 100 years old. In our own country, the population of centenarians has also grown significantly, with more than 10,000 people now living beyond 100 years. These stories of longevity are becoming more common, but they also highlight the importance of not just adding years to our lives, but adding life to our years. As we reflect on the later stages of life, it's essential to remember that reaching 90 or 100 years old isn't a natural given for everyone. Even for those who do achieve such longevity, a long life doesn't automatically equate to one that is rich with health and happiness. The truth is that living a long life and living a fulfilling life are two very different things, and it's important not to conflate the two. Longevity in itself offers no guarantees of fulfillment. The reality of life after 80 is a stark departure from what life in your 70s was like. This is a period when the body's limitations become increasingly clear and undeniable. Tasks that were effortless only a few years earlier can suddenly feel impossible, and new restrictions emerge daily. The sense of physical capability can begin to erode as fluctuating health conditions become a more frequent and unwelcome companion. Worse still, the specter of serious illnesses, cancer, strokes, heart attacks, pneumonia, looms ever closer. No longer a distant possibility but a very real threat on the horizon. Mental sharpness too can become a source of doubt. You may find yourself questioning your memory, worrying if those lapses in recall are signs of something more sinister, like dementia. This uncertainty can breed a profound loss of confidence both in your mind and body which were once so reliable. And the emotional blows of aging are no less challenging. The loss of a spouse, close friends, or siblings can leave a void so deep that it brings a sense of loneliness that is almost unbearable. Grief in these years is not a one-time visitor but a constant companion. It can feel as though you are standing at the foot of an immense, unscalable wall, the wall of aging, sickness, and death, its weight crashing down on you like a relentless tide. The struggle seems overwhelming, an unyielding force against which it's impossible to push back. As we continue this exploration of aging and how we approach our later years, it becomes clear that the most important takeaway is to embrace life with a mindset of gratitude, joy, and acceptance. Living fully in your 80s and beyond is not about denying the challenges of aging or pretending they don't exist, but about shifting your perspective to focus on what truly matters. It's about finding pleasure in the simple things, nurturing relationships, and living with purpose, rather than letting the fear of decline or disease rob you of happiness. Dr. Haywa's observations are a powerful reminder that aging is not a disease to be cured, but a natural part of life. In his years of working with elderly patients, he learned that each person's journey is unique. While we may face health challenges, our mindset determines whether these challenges define us or simply become another chapter in the ongoing story of our lives. Living fully after 80 is about breaking free from the societal expectations that dictate how we should age. For years we are told that we must fight aging, that we should avoid certain foods, exercise excessively, and take every precaution to stave off the inevitable. However, this relentless pursuit of longevity can lead to burnout and unnecessary stress. Instead, Dr. Haywa advocates for a more balanced approach, one where joy, contentment, and the freedom to enjoy life's pleasures take precedence over perfectionistic health regimens. As we age, our bodies do change. It's natural for our strength to diminish, our energy levels to fluctuate, and our physical appearance to shift. But within those changes is the opportunity to find new sources of joy. The things that once brought us pleasure may not be the same, but that doesn't mean pleasure itself is gone. Whether it's savoring the taste of a favorite dish, sharing stories with loved ones, or spending quiet moments of reflection, there are countless ways to continue experiencing joy and fulfillment. Moreover, embracing the wisdom that comes with age allows us to prioritize the present over worrying about the future. Instead of spending years anxiously awaiting the next health scare or obsessing over things beyond our control, we can choose to live fully in the now. This is not to say that we should ignore our health, but rather to view it from a place of balance, acknowledging it without letting it consume us. The reality is many people live with illness, including cancer, for years without even knowing it. In many cases, diseases like cancer progress so slowly that they don't interfere with one's daily life. By adopting a more relaxed and joyful approach to living, elderly individuals may even improve their overall well-being, reducing stress, strengthening their immune systems, and fostering a better quality of life. The key to aging gracefully lies in letting go of the idea that we must fight aging or cure every ailment. Instead, we should celebrate the years we have lived, focus on what we can still enjoy, and choose joy over fear. By cultivating a mindset of acceptance, we free ourselves from the unnecessary burden of self-imposed restrictions, allowing us to truly live in the present moment. So, what do you choose? To live each day with anxiety about what might happen, or to savor the gifts that aging brings? The answer, according to Dr. Haywa and the countless elderly individuals who have embraced their later years with joy and fulfillment, is clear. Live well, live joyfully, and live without regrets. As we reflect on these deep and profound lessons, we come to understand that living a fulfilling life, especially as we age, is about more than just adding years to our lives. It's about adding life to our years. It's not about clinging to the illusion of immortality as Qin Xiang did, or trying to control death. It's about living with intention and embracing every moment as it comes, with joy, peace, and gratitude. As we age, the focus should shift from fear of death to the celebration of life, the appreciation of experiences, and the cultivation of deep, meaningful relationships. It's not about trying to outpace the inevitable, but about making the most of the time we have. This is where true fulfillment lies. Ultimately, it's clear that the richness of life isn't determined by how long we live or how much we accumulate, but by the quality of the moments we choose to cherish, the love we share, and the impact we leave behind. Each day is an opportunity to live with purpose and to savor the joys of the present. Life in its fullness is meant to be embraced, not endured. So, as you reflect on these lessons, remember the key to thriving in your later years, or at any stage in life, is not in escaping the inevitable but in learning how to live fully, joyfully, and with grace. The inevitable may come for us all, but how we live in the meantime is what truly matters. Let go of fear, embrace the present, and focus on what brings you peace and happiness. Thank you for spending this time with me. If you found these reflections valuable, don't hesitate to comment below and share your thoughts. Your journey is yours to shape, and I hope these insights have inspired you to live with more joy, purpose, and fulfillment.